Good morning. So my first question, this happened in my non-inclusion class, but I was just curious
Okay.
as to what you'd say. So I was collecting papers and, okay, so when the leader of each pod collected the paper, the one child said, that's the worst writing I've ever seen. Now, luckily, the boy who wrote this was in the restroom, so he didn't hear it. And obviously has some accommodations, but he's very smart. So what do you say in that? I told him, I said, well, I don't have a problem reading it. I said, I just have a problem reading really small handwriting. But I didn't know what a good response would be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't did you already do the activity of fair means everyone gets what he or she needs or not?
No.
Okay, so let me share that strategy with both of you, and then you can kind of think about it. And then Jen, if you have a response to that too, feel free to chime in here afterwards. But one of the things I like to do is, this would be fun for the both of you, is to put on doctor scrubs, or if you don't want to go that far, just to get a stethoscope and hang it around your neck. When the kids walk in the classroom, you ask each of them today to be thinking of an illness. And so and if they don't have an illness, you give them one, which is when I give them really crazy ones, like, you got Ebola, you've got shingles and chicken pox at the same time. Again, you can just be super crazy. And then you go around and you guys like have a prescription pad and you have this conversation about what do you think? And then you go, yeah, take 2 aspirins and call me tomorrow. And that's the solution you give to every kid. And then you give them like 2 minutes to talk to each other and say, okay, what was crazy about what just happened here? And they're like, well, it's crazy that you think that, if I've got Ebola, 2 aspirins are going to fix me. Or if I'm allergic to aspirins, that's one I give kids often, that you're going to kill me. So why would you do that? And you say, okay, great. Well, that's equally crazy in our classroom. That in this classroom, Lisa and TJ, again, you'd use your last names, and you put a prescription pad on the wall. And you say, fair means every student gets what he or she needs. And then when a student says something like that, say, it's not your business. We're all about everybody getting what they need. I'm not talking about that. And I would just shut it down right there. But that's what's great. And then if a student says, well, he got that and I didn't, you make them read publicly. It's one of the few times I use public humiliation. You make them read that definition aloud to the class. And after about the second time, no one will ever ask you that question again.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah, and it's a fun one. Jen, you have anything you want to add there?
And I've done something very much like that. I actually did it with teachers so that the teachers understood it, where they all walked in the door and I gave them all a Band-Aid as they walked in. I made them all put the Band-Aid all in the exact same spot, and they didn't understand why. And like one person had a cut on their arm, so it was actually covering up the actual cut on their arm. And we went around and talked about the fair being what everybody needs. And it helped the teachers to understand it a little bit better. And then we've gone in to talk with different classrooms about the same situation when we've had kids who, were getting something read aloud to them or we're getting something, written for them. So.
Okay.
And then one last thing I might share too is, again, my personal philosophy when I'm co-teaching is praise in public, punish in private. So I might have that young man very, very quickly and say on the side, I respect that in here you should have great opinions about literature. I don't respect that you have opinions about anyone else's work, because I think you need to keep your opinions yourself. And then I move on. So the rule is 3 seconds, quick statement, and move on. And that would be another thing that I might choose to do. Because again, once that starts, then the next student will say it, the next student will say it. So shutting it down really quickly those first 2 weeks of school, I think, are really important.
Okay, that's good.
So you guys assessed your kids, and I think for planning today, our goal too was to talk about the tiers of kids. So what did you find in the assessment of your students? I'm anxious to hear.
Well, we have about 14
Yeah,
in
14
class.
IEPs.
Yeah, 14 IEPs. So
that's not an inclusion class, but we won't go there. So
so we have quite a few. We have all sorts of accommodations, such as computer word process on writing assignments, choice of giving verbal responses on reading tests, restate clarity directions, extended time on testing, up to time and a half, tests read aloud, tests in Julie small group setting, copy of teacher notes, use of mnemonic devices, use of organizational strategies, keep an assignment book or agenda, tests read aloud in separate locations, small group setting, extended time to respond to verbal question, extended time respond to written response, question all areas of curriculum, extended time for tests, correct all failed tests for a passing grade, scribe if needed, enlarge materials, Elmo, I forgot what that one was. Do you know what that one is?
That's the Elmo where Tim uses.
Oh, yeah,
uses
okay,
his
yeah,
board better
okay, yeah.
to enlarge everything.
Right, yeah, screen enlarging software and speech to text, so.
Yeah, that sounds like a dull day and not much to do.
Oh, there you go.
So one of the things I'd be happy to send you if you're interested is maybe taking the kids' names and those accommodations, and I've got a little checklist that you could put that into a matrix
Okay.
so that you could visually see which kids need what so that you're both cognizant. But first of all, I want to praise you and impressed, TJ, that you shared that to the level that Lisa could read them off, because it's very clear you both know what kids need. Now, the harder part is which kid needs what. The second thing then with that checklist, what I recommend you do is if 3 or more kids need it, just give it to the whole class.
Yep.
That's
And that's
what- yeah.
kind of what this list was an overview of who needs what, like you said, but a majority of them need that extended time, test read aloud, that kind of stuff.
Got it. So how are you going to deal with, in your planning, how are you going to deal with test read aloud to the whole class? Are you going to do it to the whole class? Are you going to allow kids to come and go?
I have a separate room that's fairly large, and that we usually just take them to there. Now, we've done it 2 ways where the students will just go directly to my room and take the test without even stopping by Mrs. Palmer's room, and then I'll send her an email saying, hey, we're all here, for attendance-wise. Or they'll come here, pick up the test, and then walk down to my room.
Have you thought about making it so that any kid can go to your room and don't make it just about kids with IEPs?
We
Yes.
did. We invited for the first, because we had to do a pre-test, the core assessment pre-test. And so we said anyone who wants to go. So we did. And I can't remember, did you get a
I think I had 1 non-IEP kid come down. So
That's good. That's a kid who's telling you they need something, so it'll be interesting to see what that is. And what about academic levels? So we've got the accommodations. What about academic levels? What did the pretest tell you?
Well, basically we have kids, we have some lower level kids. Unfortunately, I don't think it's a real good measure of what they know and don't know. I'm not, for this pre-test, post-test. But
Yes.
But we did, we had some that scored a lot higher than I thought.
There's some that are pretty low.
Yeah, but there are some that are pretty low. But there are some that are low in all of my classes, not just,
So give me, even though we don't believe it's valid, okay, now that we've all agreed on that, give me the range though in that test. Was it 4th grade to 12th grade? Again, I don't know how the measure gives outcomes.
I know personally, just because of dealing with the IEPs and seeing their reading scores, that we're at about 3rd grade is probably our lowest, and about 5th grade is where 5th to 6th grade is where most of our IEP kids are at, but 3rd grade is our lowest.
Okay, so 3rd grade is your lowest, and is that a student with visual needs or?
No, just cognitive.
Okay, cognitive. Okay, got it. And your highest in the class, Lisa?
I would say probably. I think there are some that are on level.
Okay, so on level. Okay, and it's a 9th grade class. Clarify for me.
Not very many, because I think the test is very difficult. I don't.
Yeah.
When we were asked to make this, we were asked to make without a whole lot of instruction because it's to get ready for the core. But to be fair to our administrators, they're just doing what they're told to do. But no one from the state has given us really examples, so we don't really know. But the textbook is aligned to the core, and so we used a textbook test. We changed up some of the questions. So, but
Yeah,
I'm
hard
not.
to tell.
It's hard to tell. It's just because. But we'll see if we see gains at the end of the year in the reading. And I'm going to go over. I still actually have, because we had move-ins and a couple of kids. No, we had at least 1 or 2 move-ins, but I still have a couple of students who have to take the test, and then I'll spend time going over each problem area. So, and before they retake it, we're going to go over it again. So.
Okay. So I know we're at 10 minutes. I'm happy to do another 5 minutes, but I want to be clear with you guys if you're okay with that.
I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I wouldn't mind talking about we're teaching Bleachers, the John Grisham novel coming up, and I told TJ I feel kind of bad because normally it would be easier to know which part each one of us plays, but I haven't taught this before, so it's new, so that makes it difficult. And so we started off with showing Friday Night Lights, the TV show, so we're in the middle of that because it really mirrors the book. And
with the days.
And we had some good questions for them to write down some answers to and discuss, I thought.
Mhm.
He explained football to them.
Yeah, I give them a quick
Oh,
quick
sorry.
overview of.
There you go. There you
Yep.
go.
A quick overview of football, just to get an idea of some of the terminology they use in the books, like counters and
hmm
positions and stuff like
There's
that.
a great role just to kind of push your role as you're showing the movie. Lisa, why don't you open the movie like as you're showing it with an anchor question? And then TJ, why don't you time it about 8 minutes and be a commercial?
Okay.
And at about 8 minutes, pause it and say, all right, in pairs, summarize this, what have you. And then Lisa, you give the next anchor question for the next section of the movie. So that's broken up a little bit because you've got auditory processors and visual process issues in there. That's why you'll see commercials on TV about every 7 to 8 minutes because you need time to process. And so what you do is you walk away and leave that thought. So that would be a good way to kind of establish even greater presence of the both of you so the kids kind of see you that way. And of course you can play that back and forth. You could do the opening question and Lisa can do the commercial, that's fine. But I would then try to check off each commercial being a different type of intelligence.
Okay.
So the first one drawing, the second one auditory, the third one just think time. Give them 30 seconds of pause and just close their eyes and imagine they're this character. And again, Lisa, I think because you haven't taught it, but you've probably got a deeper experience with that book, not because TJ you're not great, but you've got a deeper experience with football, you could be then saying, think about this because the character you're going to read in the book has to think like that. So you've done some foreshadowing of the book. You're giving them the terminology they're going to need to play football, and it gives you two very different roles. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
How much longer will the video last this week? So in summary, Lisa or TJ, what's the big ideal for this week through next Monday, since we're going to talk again Monday, that you want all kids to be able to do?
Well, basically, if they can see some, I'm hoping that they can see some of the themes within Friday Night Lights and the TV show, and so we'll discuss it. I want to bring in the big questions that I put on the ceilings in our room that we're going to explore all year. So I want to do that before we even read
Monday.
the book.
Yep.
So the movie, we just have I think we have today. I wanted to go ahead and start with some vocab and then drawing pictures to represent the vocab. So just, to kind of explain the different parts of the movie that we saw that will be applicable and the same to the book.
Okay, so let me restate what I think I heard. You want all kids to be able to give you the themes of the movie and what are those? Give me 3 you want to be sure they all can do.
Well, for one, and I don't know that I would call it a theme, but just to see the internal and external conflict of the coach. Because
internal, external conflict, okay.
That's a big one.
That's really big.
In both story and book.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of another thing to go through with that.
And the idea of forgiveness, because I think the coach, and I haven't seen the whole series, but I think he feels bad. I feel somewhat responsible, even though, the kid made the choice to do what he did with the tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And just, how the kids react to the problem that he'll never walk again.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that I'd call that kind of thematic in that
So it's
sense.
getting that kind of same crossover.
But I think you're asking them to put themselves in the place. So if I were co-teaching with you guys, I would be looking for that every kid. So again, one of you might want to take one of these and the other one another one and go off and orally check off. Can every kid tell you the internal and external conflict?
Mm-hmm.
Can every kid explain to you what forgiveness is?
Mm-hmm.
Can every kid explain to you how they would feel if they were the person who made the decision to make that tackle? So you're trying to get them to put them play themselves in them. And those would be 3 goals that by Monday, any kid that doesn't do that, TJ, it becomes, in my opinion, your responsibility that instead of on Tuesday that you start new lessons, maybe you review and TJ does some integrated, really in-depth alternative teach with a small group of kids for 15 minutes.
Okay. That's helpful.
And then bring them in the room so that everybody's starting with that minimum threshold, and it gives you a chance to do a little alternative teach with that, that 3rd grade cognitive level that might need to be in the room and go, forgiveness is, repeat after me, forgiveness is, repeat after me, forgiveness is, that you wouldn't want to do in the large group. And then I think, Lisa, you could take the wheelchair guy and make that a really great part of this discussion about fairness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it just It just goes right into, again, we're not going to talk about people's differences. We're going to talk about their strengths. And we're not going to see wheelchairs as bad. We're going to see wheelchairs as ways to get around. And that's going to be the theme in the class. So if you'd like to say something, I always say the thumper principle. If you can't say something nice, then don't say anything at all. And it makes it really, and that would be a nice tie into what you were a little bit worried about earlier. You could use in all classes.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good. That sounds good. I did do, after we did point of view, I did do an exit ticket, and that worked really well to see who really understood point of view. And there were still a couple kids that, yeah, a little iffy, but I thought that exit ticket was kind of nice too. So
good, good. And so 2 last things just to share with you, because I know you've got to go. Socrative, have you tried that yet, or have you seen Socrative.com?
I haven't used it, but I've looked at it
I've
before.
heard of it, but I've never seen it.
So again, it might be something to kind of challenge yourself to think. It's a great way to quiz the whole class with any device. They can use their phones, what have you, and it automatically downloads their answer
Okay.
into an Excel spreadsheet. So again, great role. One of you's leading, the other one pulls up a Socrative. Kids answer the question. You finish teaching, Lisa, TJ, you look at it and go, holy cow, those 3 kids again. Okay, so great way to get some quick assessment data. And then I think you're familiar with Quizlet.
Yes, Quizlet's great.
Yeah, so again, I was thinking as you're drawing, and the advanced Quizlet allows you to use pictures.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, okay. That's nice.
So if you're wanting to do images for kids who can't draw very well, you could actually let them pick an image from Google if that was something you wanted to do. And then the last one that I thought of, have you guys looked at all at Classroom Dojo?
I've heard of I've heard of
at
it, but I haven't looked at it.
So those aren't things by Monday I expect you to do, but those are 3 things if you'll remind me, we can start to talk about it. Classroom Dojo allows you to award behavior points
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
on any device that automatically the kids can personalize their avatar. So again, it's a great role. You're leading discussion, TJ's giving points. He's leading discussion, you're giving points. And again, it gives kids feedback. If you have a parent who really wants to know, you can give the parent an account to their kid's dojo, and they can actually see other kids doing each day.
Oh, wow. Mhm. That makes
So
sense.
again, 3 things that I thought might be good to wrap us up. Anything else that quick and to the point? I just want to be super respectful of your time.
No, I don't think so.
No.
So,
It's gone well.
Yep.
Feedback, was this helpful?
yes,
Yes,
very helpful.
absolutely.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
helpful.
And then second question, next time we meet on Monday, co-planning, co-instructing, or co-assessing, what are you most worried about?
I think co-planning for
I'll
the
say
week
we're still
because
planning, yeah.
we're going to start reading the novel, so just figuring out, should we read it
Okay,
each,
great.
how much should we read out loud? Should they read any to themselves?
Mhm.
Because even if you have to have everything read to you, I mean, isn't it still valuable to just at least try to read a page to yourself? I don't know. So,
We'll talk about that. Okay, so on Monday, then the goal would be that when we meet, that Lisa, you're really clear on what you want all kids to know Monday through Friday. And TJ, I would love to give you the challenge of what's something you might want to do to enhance, and what type of co-teaching are you most comfortable with across the week. Okay?
that sounds good.
Sounds good. All right, thank you. You guys are wonderful. Appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.
Now what do I do here?